Yo, 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 what's good, family, what's good? Stormybman is back here with the Friday night chop session for this Friday. This is what? July 12th. It's all good, it's all good. It's my baby's birthday. My daughter just turned 28 years old. Happy birthday, sweetie. And many more to you. You are blessed. You are blessed, truly blessed. I want to say what's up to the people that are out there. Stormy B Man's been off the scene for a little bit as far as my streams. Um, I've been having some difficulty with my equipment and everything behind the scenes. It seems like the demon was on my show, so it's like I had to shake him off. You understand? Throw some of that holy water on him, get him up out of here. But yeah, I just want to say hello to everybody. I hope y'all had a wonderful week. The weather here in the Shy has been really beautiful the past couple of days, and man, it has been nice. It has been really, really, really nice here, man. So thankful for that. Um, yeah, I just been trying to get things together, trying to prepare myself for the changes that are coming up ahead as far as doing the streams off of YouTube and everything, the Hangout apps and everything. And thanks to a few brothers that are behind the scenes, they introduced me to some new options, and so therefore I'm trying them out. And before I was having these difficulties with my equipment, I was trying them out, and I think you guys who've been riding along with me had an opportunity to kind of see what's happening. And yes, it's coming around and it's looking really nice. We are going to be doing some good things. Uh, the options that are before us are looking sweet, and we want to take that time out to acknowledge. I am ill will, uh, came one of them ones, media, hyphy, um, Marlo's Corner, just so many brothers that's been helping me behind the scenes. And I just want to, acknowledge that and let everybody know that the LDBC is truly a community. And again, I forgive me as I'm rambling on. I want to say shout out to the LDBC and all the brothers and sisters who are out there creating content, who are keeping the movement alive. Shout out to new media. It's been a little bit, so forgive me and my decorum because I'm just so excited to be back on the airwaves again. I want to take a moment out to acknowledge people who have popped up in the chat and let everybody know what's going on. Gil Coles, Derek McGee, Nassim the Dream, Reggie Owens, um, Brown on Boxing. You know, everybody that's out there, as well as those who are listening, man. I just want to say thanks for stopping by. Stormy B Man is back, and we're gonna be looking to do some good things. Uh, got a new show. The new show will be having its second episode, hopefully this weekend, tomorrow, in the eye of the storm. I put an email in the link for this stream. Uh, I put an email link there for anyone that wants to leave any questions or any subject content, um, any type of topics that you would like to hear discussed on the new platform, the new show rather. uh, Please use the email. The email is in the eye of the storm 4 at gmail.com. And that email is for all the brothers and sisters out there who want to send some content that you would like to hear myself and the others who are on the show with me speak on when you tune in. We'll take a moment out and read the emails and acknowledge and shout out the people who submit the emails. So please take advantage of that. You can actually email me for that show as well as the Friday night chop session which is my, regular Friday night show. Um, and again, we'll get a chance to cover that. If you leave it tonight, we'll still cover it on the show. So I encourage anyone out there, please use that email. It's been designed specifically for that because we want to hear the voices of the people. We want to hear what your concerns are. We want to hear what you have to say about the sport and what you would like to hear us talk about when we come together. So that's what's happening right there. That's the latest. Glad to catch you up on what's been going on. Very excited, very excited to see what's on the horizon. This show was prepped as stepping up in boxing. And when we talk about stepping up in boxing, we want to talk about giving people that chance to advance their careers in the sport of boxing by taking on prime competition. It's like someone who can be a measuring stick, a barometer to your growth in the sport of boxing. And uh, I feel like fighters today are not taking that opportunity as much as we may have seen even going back about 12, 15 years ago. The sport has really changed. We're seeing a lot of guys who are circling the wagons around stiff competition, but not diving into the heat of the fire of it. And that's kind of leaving a sore taste in the mouth of boxing fans because we're still not getting the best fighting the best, and we're not seeing fighters graduate to the levels of which we can consider them for greatness or potential greatness. And this is something that we need to see more of to make proper assessments. When you plow your dollars down for a ticket for a fight, you want to know who you're going to throw your support behind. You want to see who's actually going to be that person that can give you that desire to come and see them, fight again and again. So with that, people, if we kind of push for that a little more, we talk about different fighters not facing each other and everything, but we need to talk more about the stepping up in the sport because a lot of young champions become titleists before they even really learn how to fight. And if you listen to Stormybman and his channel and me when I've been on with other people, I speak that a lot. It's like prospects now are built and showcased to look good only, but they're not fortified with filling the toolbox to make them complete fighters. When you're a complete fighter, you can actually compete with various styles. You can compete with various weight classes. You can compete with old and young. You can compete with prime. You have the wherewithal to stand and face whatever the opposition could be on the other side of the ring. When fighters do not have a complete toolbox, they look to navigate the boxing field as if it's a landmine. It's like they're trying to avoid those potholes. They're trying to avoid the pitfalls of the sport. And let me say this, when you're doing that, it doesn't matter if you're avoiding quality opposition. Someone who may be thought of as a journeyman or even a easy take could actually take you, you know, because you haven't fortified yourself with the capabilities of dealing with whatever the adversities are in the sport. And believe me, when you're talking about one on one, two men, mano a mano, a lot of things can come into question. You know, you can come in there, you walk up those stairs one night and you just have a belly ache, or you don't feel right. You had a fight with your woman that week leading up to the fight and your mind is not right. And guess what? The other guy makes a name off of you. You understand? And he didn't have to be the guy that was a threat to you. He was supposed to be the soft touch, but he touched you up. And now you got to go back to the drawing board. Huh? That happens in the sport of boxing. So why not put yourself in position, fight different styles, take up on me again. Come Come on, fellas. Come on. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get that stream going. Yeah, there we go. Come on. Come on back. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry about that. It's like, it acts up from time to time, but Stormy B Man is trying to weather the storm, taking a few blows on the chin, but you know what? I'm coming back like a champ. That's right. Get my second win and get up in there. You know what I'm saying? Um, Bodru Thibodeau, what's good with you? Brown on boxing. Um, thank you for stopping by, fellas. Uh, what we got? We got Brown on boxing says we know that Keith and Saul don't want no smoke with the elite competition. You know what? I won't just single it out to particular names because we know who they are just by watching the sport as we do. And you could tell those who really want to advance their careers and those who are just in there to try to secure a certain amount of revenue to put their lives in a better position. Legacy should really mean something once you get up there and you start fighting in the top 10 and you get close to titles and then you actually win titles. Because while you're in there, you want to make a name for yourself. You want to be known as someone who gave as good as they got. You want to be you want to be known as someone who was able to compete in the sport. That's very important. And you know something? The adulation of the fans, the people that get behind you, the people that support you, that's what's going to carry the sport. And that's what's going to carry you. You can live vicariously through the fan base. Those people who are supporting you, who are cheering for you, who are edging you on and say, hey, you can do it. That's what it's about, you see? And fighters have to understand that. These modern fighters may not understand that, but fighters of yesteryear do understand it. Mike James Boxing, peace to you, brother. What's going on with you? Glad to see you here, man. Glad to see you here. I really appreciate everybody that stopped by to listen to Stormy B Man tonight on the Chop Session. I'm out here. I think I'm going to be winging it alone this evening, but that's okay because this is a stream where I got to get my feet wet again, get back into the thick of things, and that's what it's all about. So, for you listeners out there that have decided to join me, thank you. Thank you for your support. Let's see what else we got here. Got a little buffering going on, I see. But yeah, I just, it's funny that the stepping up in boxing, though we're not seeing it, there's plenty of room for it. And there's still plenty of hay for people to make in the sport by stepping up. Um, Quality matches are quality matches. But what is assured is that someone will be able to advance and someone will be able to be sent back to the gym, the drawing board, uh, which is it's not necessarily a bad thing. Wouldn't you like to know where your weaknesses are so you can shore them up and then come back stronger? I mean, some of the greats in the history have lost fights, but what was really worth it is seeing them pit their wares against someone who was able to meet a challenge and put them in the face of danger by raising the stakes, so to speak. Just seeing guys wither and be knocked out because they got clipped solidly or something. I mean, later for that. You don't even usually see champions being knocked out at the top of the sport, real champions, like in real unification matches and stuff. Usually those fights are highly contested and the guys are very sharp and it usually ends in some kind of decision. Special fighters, can win fights by knockout at that high level. But that's done by setting the knockouts up. It's not just because some guy went in and blitzed the other guy. It's because someone was able to execute a certain game plan, or someone was able to execute their uh, their strengths to the maximum, or they just needed that window of opportunity for their strengths to shine through, and then they're able to put a stamp on the fight. That's the great part of the sweet science, and seeing fights highly contested. I love that in the sport. Jeffro Bodine, what's good with you? Mike James Boxing, peace to you too, brother. I'm glad you guys stopped by. Yeah, we're talking about stepping up in boxing tonight. It's me, Stormybman. I'm kind of winging it along this evening, but that's all good because I got you guys as my support group, and we're gonna do this thing, brother. We're gonna do it. You know, um, I love the fact that so many young fighters today think they're good, they think they're great, but I just want to see them put in those fights that matter, those fights that say, you know what, this opponent has come up hard too. This opponent has, he's up, and now he's ready to see if he's ready for that next level. Put those guys in with each other. Let's see what they can do, man. And again, it's not about name dropping in this subject matter because there's so many across the sport who could stand a test or two. A lot of these guys walk around and they point their finger up, they're number one and all of this, but you know what? I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied seeing guys blow out mediocre opposition, and they're getting paid handsomely with these TV contract deals and everything, as opposed to fighters 20 years ago or something like that. But we're still not seeing the cream. You understand? I mean, and sometimes when you have special athletes, when they have the step up fights, boy, they still look spectacular. I could remember Floyd Mayweather Jr. when he stepped up to fight Gennaro Hernandez. Man, Hernandez was a quality world champion. I think he was a multiple world champion. And Floyd just took it all away from him, you know. And RIP to Gennaro Hernandez, who was a respectable gentleman and a true champion in the sport. He congratulated Mayweather when he lost to him, and he lost to him fair square, and Mayweather was head and shoulders above him in talent, and it just led the path to where he was going to go as a professional fighter. But he fought a champion, and he fought it young in his career and everything. This is what I'm talking about. We have to see more of that in the sport. You know, um, Nassim the Dream says these guys today are afraid to see just how good they really are. Shit, today if you lose it, it seems like you get more shots at the title than an undefeated fighter. It's funny. Um, People are blind in the sport today when they when greatness has been so watered down, and the line has been blurred between good and great. A good fighter is a fighter that's resilient, a fighter that can give as good as he gets, a fighter that can box, a fighter that can punch, a fighter who can take a punch, a fighter who has stamina, a fighter who can change it up if need be. Go from being on the offense to defense, or if he needs to pursue instead of being pursued. That's a good fighter. Now, what separates him from the potential or the great fighter is having the tools to dictate, no matter what, under those very circumstances, to end a fight decisively or to pull out victory decisively, and to be able to weather when down and still find a way to persevere and come out on top. That's where the greatness comes in and separates them from the rest of the pack. And that is what you're not seeing from a lot of these guys who are champs now. And that's simply because they're not fighting the opponents who could potentially bring that out of them. You see? And that's what's important, to have someone to measure against. That doesn't necessarily mean that guy is better than you. He could have been better than you on that night. You know, in the NFL, they say any given Sunday. In boxing, it could be the same. You go in there one night and the guy gets you. You rematch him a couple of fights later and you might get him, you know? But that's the way it is. And that's the way it should be, you know? We got Sheldon Holmes in here. What's good with you, Sheldon? Laws the Pimpin', my brother, what is happening, man? I'm all good. How are you, brother? You know, and listen, the wonderful thing about the step up fight is this. Two fighters at a crossroads, rising stars, you know, got solid fan base, maybe regional support, and here they are, contrasting styles, contrasting personalities. Showdown, okay? Winner gets a shot at the title. That's great theater, bro. That is great theater because guess what? At some point, one of those guys in that match is going to learn what it took to get there and get beyond, and one is going to learn what he didn't have to go further. You see? And that's important. That's very important because if you've never filled the tank, then you don't know how far down the road you can get. You know what I'm saying? Dalton Judge, what's good with you, brother? Glad to see you out there. Thanks for stopping by. So, yeah, that crossroads thing, and that doesn't necessarily mean, a crossroads fight doesn't mean it's in the middle or at the end of your career. You can have a crossroads fight on the way up because that's that test, that measuring stick where you can see, oh, I had just enough to get by, but I know what I need to work on now to get back in there. I know what I need to do next time. You know, having a fighter to take you rounds. Do you realize going the distance is not a bad thing? You get adjusted to the ring, you get adjusted to the crowd, you get adjusted to the familiarity with putting in the work. You understand? Knocking guys out like you got a car running and double parked outside, that's nice theater. But when you get in there with that guy who's not going anywhere, now you're sweating. Now you're wondering like, is my stamina gonna hold up? Well, maybe I shouldn't throw as many punches this round. I need to take a round off. I need to rest myself. I need to pace myself. See, there you go. But if you're in there and you're putting in that work and you understand that you are prepped to go the distance, there's confidence there. You put yourself in a position to persevere. That's what it's about. This is what the sport is calling for. Even now, when you're not seeing it, because that's what's missing. You can watch a fight and say, man, it was all right, but I wish I would have seen him do such and such XYZ. That's what you're missing. You're not being fed the entertainment of people who have really honed their craft. You are being entertained with theater, with, you know, glitz and, glamour, but not necessarily substance. And that's what we should call for, more substance in the sport. This is something I know that some of you probably feel like, well, yeah, Stormy, I feel you or whatever. And then some people might feel like, hey, you're absolutely right. But regardless, it is right. This is what we're talking about. You have to have guys who are going to put it on the line, you know? And I'll tell you something. For those who persevere, they will they will look to do that more in the future. You understand? And they fight with more confidence. I remember George Foreman after taking on Michael Moore. George Foreman felt like he really accomplished his goal of coming back to win the heavyweight championship. But when he lost his championship against Ali, he had never been the distance in a championship fight, and he had been knocking out all of his opponents. And George was the kind of fighter that he put in lots of energy trying to knock people out. And he wore himself out against Ali. But when he fought Michael Moore, he was more calculating, more experienced. And he knew that if he tried to knock Michael Moore out early, if he hurt Moore enough, Moore would get up and just run the rest of the fight. And I shouldn't say run, but box more cautiously for victory. But he lured Moore into a situation where Moore got comfortable fighting at George's pace, which he should not have done. And then he lulled him to sleep and he knocked him out. And he knocked him out later because when he put him down, he couldn't get back up. See, if you dropped him early, Moore would get up, play safe, box safe, and try to win a decision like that. Sort of like Tommy Morrison did against George. But that experience, you see, George would spar and he would box 6-minute rounds and stuff like that. He would not just go to 3 minutes. He learned how to relax himself, put himself in a position to be able to handle the opposition, all the while as calm as can be. And he had stamina. It's amazing to have been seeing a 39, 40, and 41-year-old George Foreman in there with these young men going 12 rounds because he wasn't knocking them all out. He was banging them up pretty good, but he wasn't knocking all the guys out at the top level of the sport. And he was doing some really, really interesting things for someone who had no stamina as a younger man. So that's what I'm talking about. Stepping up, being able to test yourself and put yourself in a position to be a threat, to advance to that next level. So, Charles D, what's good with you, brother? Good to see you out there. Um, yeah, we're just chopping it up about stepping up in boxing. You know, it's important that fighters have step up fights and not just go through a succession of knockouts, knocking everybody out. You know, that's what I'm talking about at this time. So that's what and it's a good subject because it's something that we should really be thinking about. Hold on a minute, fellas. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just checking out my cues and everything, making sure everything is good, people. So, what do you guys think about what I'm saying so far about the step up fights? Do you guys agree or do you not agree that step up fights are important? Um, I've seen that what's his name? The guy from England, uh, Danny Daniel Dubois. He's about to have a fight, uh, and this Nathan Gorman, you know, and that's considered a step up fight between these two guys. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, they're at that level where they should be fighting one another. It's kind of one of those things that certain other fighters, had they looked to do that and challenge themselves, maybe they would have been in a better position. Guys like Anthony Joshua, you know, uh, I would almost equate Dillian White in there because he fought a couple of step up fights. He fought Joshua and then he fought Parker, but he hasn't wanted to take on anyone else, you know, since then, and he just wants to be given a title shot. He should be looking to fight other fighters before he gets in there for a title shot. The only reason that I would think a guy like that would want a title shot is because he's trying to cash out. He wants to make a shitload of money and then go find something else to do. And I'm sorry, I don't think Deontay Wilder, as the heavyweight champion of the world, should just give Christmas gifts out to people like that who haven't earned it. You know, go out there and prove your wares against somebody and fight somebody, man. We're not just gonna hand you anything. You understand? Deontay came up the hard way. He had to fight for everything he's got, and it was not easy. He only makes it look easy with his hard work in the gym and what he's able to produce when he gets in there on fight night. But it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's not easy putting yourself in the mental state that he has to put himself in to execute his game plan like he does. Because he goes in there looking to hurt people every single time. And getting riled up like that, getting fired up, that takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot of mental focus. You understand? So it's like, why should he just grant a guy who hasn't proven himself against anyone an opportunity? Get your butt in there and fight somebody and prove your wares. Prove like, oh, you belong. Then it's like, okay, let's get it on. You know? But first, you must step up. Charles D says, I don't think Yard is ready for Kovalev yet, but it's on. Dalton Judge says, I believe that once you step up, you can't go back down. You got to stay on the even level or go higher. I hate the step down fight after the step up. Well, I want to say something about that, Dalton. You know, it's not about going back down. You have to understand, if you've risen to a certain level, you have your crossroads fight, and if you happen to lose that fight, you didn't go down, you didn't advance, and you've plateaued to that point. But at least you know from that point where you lost, whether it's a knockout, whether you lost a decision, or it was a controversial decision. You have learned what you need to do to carry beyond that point. But if you've never been tested like that, you don't want to be the guy who's parading around with a title, okay? And then you get in there against one of your so-called soft touches for your first title defense, and he cleans your clock. Huh? Now you look like a bigger washout than you did when you had your step-up fight, and then people said you were down. Huh? Did J-Rock go down after losing to Charlo? No, he plateaued, and he went back to the drawing board. But look what happened. He didn't take a step down fight. He came back and he became a champion, a unified champion. Dude, that's awesome. You understand? It's like, now, can you imagine the confidence that he could have going into his next match? It's going to take a hell of a guy to beat him, even if it was Charlo again. it would be a tougher fight because the man has proven to himself, not just to you, the audience, but he's proven to himself that it ain't over just because you lose a fight. You can come back. He added to his toolbox. Yeah, I've been knocked out. Yeah, I've been knocked down a couple of times. Yeah, and in the championship fight. But guess what? I came back. I knocked another champion on his can. I took the other champion's titles. Dude, that's education. Huh? That's more education than you can get in any gym. Life experience. That's what it is. Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens says, Gorman and Dubois are doing the proper thing by fighting each other early in their careers. Absolutely, Reggie, because when these guys see again taking a loss in a fight like this, it's not a bad thing because they're prospects. They don't even have 20 fights yet. Get in there and learn some stuff, man. You know, in Dubois' last fight against that guy, I can't think of the guy's name, and I don't want to just murder the name, but he cracked Dubois with a surprise shot, and Dubois had to come back and he opened up and it was like, oh, I got to get this dude out of here before he get me out of here. But it was kind of funny to see because Dubois was going about his business in a workmanlike fashion at first, and then getting tagged that good shot, he was like, oh shit. And he what'd he do? He fought back. But the thing is like, you know, he probably didn't think the guy could do that to him. I guarantee you that was great experience for him because he's in the next fight, he's gonna be like, I'm gonna be on top of the guy before he could do that to me. You understand? And it's like that's all good stuff. But it's real life experience. You can do that in the gym, but I'm gonna tell you something. These guys nowadays too are having these gym wars, getting knocked out in sparring and stuff. Dude, that's not where you fight. You save your fight for the ring. In the gym, you work on your craft. You work on defensive tactics, you work on offensive tactics, you work on how to, place your punches and everything like that. Technique. Huh? You're not supposed to be going in there warring, going to war, man. That's why you got some guys who are like great gym fighters. But when they get in there, when the lights is on, they can't do anything because they going all out in the gym against real fighters who are contenders and champions and trying to prove that they belong. But they really don't have it when they get in the ring under the lights. And the real champions know how to get their work in sparring sections, and they work on things in particular where they don't leave all their fight in the gym. Cause I'm telling you, you need to save as much for the real fight as possible. But only the good trainers can bring you through that. They know what good work is for you, and they know what light work is for you. And it's their job to balance that. You know, I was hearing stories about AJ getting knocked out in the gym and stuff like that a couple years ago, and I was like, man, that's not good. You know, what trainer is allowing his young prospect like that to get dealt with like that? Sometimes you don't need to even be in the ring unless you are ready to go. It's a coach's job to look at you and tell if you're ready to spar that day or not. You understand? It's like you can get in there and do 12 rounds of shadow boxing. Huh? Shadow boxing. And not just moving around and throwing shots. You understand? As if you were in a fight and you actually get that tired from letting your hands go. You understand? That's what it's about. Shaking it out, man. Building that conditioning, building that mental fortitude, being able to be in there and be focused and honed and sharp and mean and vicious and ready to tear the other guy apart. That's what you got to be in there. Nassim the Dream says, that's a fact. That's a fact. This is what's missing from AJ. They just threw him at the top when those tough fights in the middle are very important. Charles D says, got back in the gym and got it right. Justin Taylor says, what's up, Stormy? What's up with you, Justin Taylor? Charles D says, defensive and technique. Absolutely. And Reggie Owens says, exactly. I'm glad you brought that gym war thing up. That stuff is so ass backwards. Yes, sir. You know, I'm gonna tell you something, Reggie Owens, about that, about the gym wars. You know, that's kind of like more of a this late modern era thing. Um, Good fighters would get quality sparring, but they weren't trying to kill each other in the gym. I remember Gerald McClellan and James Toney having some great sparring sessions. But James Toney was that type of fighter. He just liked to be in the gym. He liked contact. He liked putting his hands on somebody, and he liked to have somebody trying to put their hands on him. And he's kind of paid a price for that. You know, he was a little bit undisciplined with his conditioning, but he got that quality work in there. Mark Breland talks about sparring with Tommy Hearns and Muhammad Ali during his amateur career. You know, that's the kind of work that you just cannot get. You know what I mean? But it's not about being beaten up in that gym. If I gave you the tools to learn how to protect yourself and to learn how to be an aggressor on someone else, it is now your responsibility to work at that at your speed, at your level, at your intensity, but to perfect that. If I've only taught you how to knock somebody out and not take care of yourself defensively, you're primed to be knocked out. If I taught you just how to be defensive, okay, but not how to go out there and secure a round, you're primed to lose rounds. You understand? You are not going, you have to be complete. You can't just be a single sided fighter. You have to be complete to be able to be a fighter who will remain at the top. You know, during the 90s, we had fighters like Mike McCallum and those guys who they were perennial champions and contenders because even if they dropped the title, they could come right back and win another or win against a contender that put them in contention for another title shot right away. Those were the type of fights that kept guys in the loop. We have Gigi who has joined us. What's good? What's good, Gigi? Glad to see you out there, bro. Good to see you. Yeah. So the gym wars. Reggie Owens, I agree 100%, man. It's like you can't be in there just battling. What are you learning in there? What are you learning to do? Because you have to be able to understand tactics. Do you know another thing that fighters don't work on? Controlling the tempo of a fight. Because when you have step up matches, say that guy is on, you're going into the match, right? And he's on par with you. That's what's been the buildup. These two guys are at a crossroads because their skills are right at that time where they should be fighting each other and everything, blah, blah, blah. Now, going into the fight, each man should have a game plan. But how do you control and dictate the tempo of the fight? If your opponent is very defensive, he's going to look to capitalize on you being the aggressor and and take advantage of his openings. If your opponent is the offensive guy, then you're going to look to make him miss so you can counter and dictate the tempo of the fight by looking like the guy, to use a adage that Max Kellerman has said, and it is meaningful. Who would you have rather been in that round? You know, um, to secure rounds, to know where you are in a round. I remember when I was watching Evander Holyfield fights that early in his career, when it was 30 seconds to go in a fight, Evander's corner would yell out his nickname, "Real deal, real deal." And what that meant was, with 30 seconds to go in the fight, try to do some things within that 30 seconds that could secure that round, because that's the last thing the judges is going to remember when the bell rings, what you were able to do. That last 30 seconds, they're going to really remember that. So they would yell out, "Real deal, real deal." And he would either turn it up, get off some good combinations, put a little space between he and his opponent, and look to get shots off with clean leverage and everything. That's very smart. You see, it was a tactic that they developed in their gym. So when your coach is calling out something to you in specific, that you know, when he says that, you know what to do. And that's going to secure a round for you, or put you in a position to have so, 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 a superior effort in the round. It is essential to understand that, to know the clock, to know how much time or whatever, and also the distances, judging your distances, staying off of those ropes, keeping the match in the center of the ring, being able to use angles, tie a guy up securely and strongly with strength until the ref separates you. When the ref separates you, step around behind the ref to get that extra couple of seconds. It's little tactics like that that the good trainers would teach fighters. Because when the ref breaks you and you walk behind the ref, then that means that ref has to step out of your way and everything, but you get a couple of breaths in that. When you tie a guy up, don't just stand there and maul and wrestle with him. You tie him up and you turn him in a circle, either clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on which is his odd side. If he's a right-handed fighter, you probably want to walk him counterclockwise. If he's a left-handed fighter, you probably want to, walk him the opposite way. But these are the kind of things that you do tactically to control the tempo of a fight. Huh? And it's like it's very smart. And also, clinching doesn't mean that you are submitting. You may clinch to slow a guy down from getting something off and then make him reset. You know, tactically, not just holding for the sake of holding because you don't want to fight. That's not what I'm talking about. But these are the type of things, again, in the gym, you learn these things, not just going in there blazing a guy. I sparred 4 guys today and they couldn't hang with me and I was whooping on them guys. Well, you were taking shots too. And you took on 3 guys. That was 3 fresh guys, right? And you weren't fresh, but you still was in there with them. But what did you learn? What did you learn? Not what did you do to them or what they didn't do to you. Huh? Did you learn how to keep your breath on par with each guy when he came in fresh, that you were almost as fresh as they were? Did you learn how to do that? Did you learn how to control that? Huh? Did you learn how to control the round with your jab? Huh? Did you work on just your jab? They were throwing all types of punches, but you just used that left hand, kept your right hand at home, and just probed, defended, blocked, parried, everything with the left hand. Did you do that? Were you able to do that? Did you think to do that? Did your trainer suggest that? Reggie Owens says, Not controlling tempo is what killed off Rob Brant today. He went balls to the wall as soon as the bell rung, while Murata sat back and picked him. Nassim the Dream says, our coach taught us to win the early round, take a breather in the middle, then close hard the last 30 seconds. Derek Bailey says, salute Stormybman and salute Nassim the Dream. What's up, Derek Bailey? Good to see you out there, bro. Thanks for stopping by. We're back up and running on the Friday night chop session, man. You see my boy Miguel Cotto right there in the gym working that speed bag? That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what Stormybman is doing now. He's bringing in the finer points of the boxing gym, talking about step up fighting and boxing, step up matches. That's what it's all about, man. And Miguel Cotto is up there working up a sweat on that speed bag. And I'm sorry, guys, but I forgot to introduce my little pet down there in the corner. Huh? That's Sabretooth. Huh? Sabretooth is looking to the left and looking to the right. He watching Stormybman back. Sabretooth is down there. He gonna bite you in the ass if you give me any hard time. Okay? I know we got trolls that be out there from time to time. That's what Sabretooth is down there for, to bite them in their ass when they mess with Stormybman. So Sabretooth and Miguel Cotto. That's what we got going for you guys tonight. All right. Yeah, so again, in the gym, tactically training for a step-up fight, what you can do is lay out things to work on, huh? Each fight, because your step-up fights should always have something that you did not face or encounter before, okay? That's the other part of the step-up fight. Being able to go in there and face adversity that you hadn't faced before. Sometimes it could be an injury. You hurt your hand. Huh? You hurt your hand, and now you got to win with one hand. It might be your hand that you jab with. It could be your power hand. Could be your best punch, your Sunday punch. Or it could be just maybe like one of your legs is not feeling right or whatever. So now you have to fight a different kind of way. Improvise. One of the things that Muhammad Ali didn't get enough credit for was being able to improvise during a fight. Ali could do things that didn't seem all that a part of what could be a part of the action before the fight, and then within the fight he would adjust and adapt. For instance, when he fought Joe Frazier the first time, his answer to Joe's plowing in and dipping at a low angle was to punch down at Joe and lean back away from Joe's punches. Well, he got caught many a times with that big hook from Joe, so much to the point that after the fight and after being dropped, Ali's jaw was swollen like he had a grapefruit inside of his jaw. And that was a horrible tactic to try to employ against Frazier, who bobbed at an even lower angle in the first fight than he did prior to that. Because with Ali being a taller man and punching down like that, it left from the shoulders up, it left him wide open. And Eddie Futch and what was his name? Joe Frazier's other trainer. Forgive me, I can't remember his name right now. Man, I hate when that happens. I have so many names in my head. Yank Durham. When they had Joe bobbing at that low angle like that, it was by design. Now in the rematch, Joe was going to start to do that. But what Ali did was he improvised. He grabbed Joe behind the head and pulled his neck down and put his weight on him. And that tired Joe out. So in the second fight, when they called it Super Fight 2, it wasn't so much of a super fight as it was a super boxing exhibition by Ali, where he won on points easily. Joe said that it looked like Ali was trying to steal money from him, or something like that, because they got in close. He's like, Ali hugged him like he was going through his pockets or something. But it was funny because Ali did what he had to do to survive. In the Thriller in Manila, their third fight, it was a lot like the first fight, with mixed in with the second fight. And so when you see that, it was the experience of both guys being so familiar with one another. But not to digress from the point I was trying to make about stepping up against opponents and tactics, you have to have things that you want to work on, and you have to face opposition that can bring those subjects to the forefront when you want, like, you want to know what happens when a guy has good stamina and he can take you rounds. Well, you better be able to ensure that you can win your share of rounds. If it's a 6-round fight, if it's an 8-round fight, if it's a 10-round fight, you want to be able to ensure that you want to win 80% of those rounds. If it's a 6-round fight, you want to ensure that you can win 4 of those rounds. If it's an 8-round fight, you want to win 6 of those rounds. If it's a 10-round fight, you want to win 8 of those rounds. It's like that. And there are tactics, things that you could do, okay? And it's not like about laying back or whatever, but it's about going out there and executing your plans. That's what you want to do. And that's important. If you're in there with a guy who can bang a little bit, we want to know that your defense is solid. We want to know that you're taking care of your chin, you're staying out of harm's way, that you could tie a guy up, that you could give angles. Okay? If it's a guy who likes to box on the outside, you want to be able to work on the inside. You want to be able to get in close, get inside his boxing, work the body, give him angles, and get your shots off where you impose yourself on his boxing. These are the subtleties of improvising during a fight. When a fighter is an inside fighter, tactically, you want to control the distance. You want to keep him at bay. You want to make sure that he's at a distance where he can't get off on you. You get yours off on him, and you maintain the tempo of the fight. You control the tempo of the fight. That's what I'm talking about. Another thing in step up fights, when you have someone, maybe you're fighting in an unfamiliar town, it's a crowd that's against you. They don't like you, you know. He's from Texas and you're from New York or whatever, and they're like, oh, we don't like the East Coast boys or whatever. Well, guess what? You got to drown that crowd out. You got to be able to focus. You got to be able to zero in on that opponent. As a road warrior. If you get a chance to fight outside the states, you fight outside the states. You know, in your step up fights. It's like you don't want to be in the world championship fight and never fought outside the states and then try to go to someone's country and like, I'm going to defend over there. You need to have the experience of what it's like to travel, to bring your own chefs and people that cook for you and stuff like that, your own water, all of that type of stuff. That's very important, for your career. And again, It can make a difference, guys. It can make a huge difference when you do these things. And you know, the other thing in step up fights, sometimes you'll have an opponent who is just not going to cooperate. Okay? He may foul, he may do like roughhouse tactics, things like that. You got to get used to it. I remember a couple of fights ago, Shakur Stevenson fought a guy who was roughhousing him. He was like banging him a little bit. He was elbowing and everything. And what was good was to see how Shakur handled it. He handled it like a pro. I think that was the fight that he had that went the distance. I forget the gentleman's name. You know, and that's important. But to be able to face that, you know, the guy was stepping all on his feet and everything. He's going to know what to do in the future when he faces another opponent that may try those tactics. It's familiar to him now. These are the type of things we're talking about. Derek Bailey said, Yancey Durham. Yeah, I did come up with the name, Derek Bailey. Thanks for that, bro. And Gigi says, strategy is one thing, but execution is the difference between being effective. Well, I was not ruling that out, Gigi. My thing was to be able to have that honed in the gym. You don't work on it in the fight, you know? Strategies, tactics, and learning how to execute them. That's where do you think you learn how to execute them? You learn how to execute them in the gym. You can't practice knocking people out in the gym. You're supposed to learn how to set your punches up, how to feint, how to get a shot off at a certain time and things, or when to punch, when not to punch. That's what you learn in the gym. Not just going in there banging with people. You know, do you know how many guys spar and guys that stand outside the ring and just watch them spar? And you getting off good shots, or you taking good shots, and you might hear a little something from the crowd. Ooh, ah, ooh, man, that's a good shot right there. You know, but what the hell are you learning? Your coach should be training you in there. He should be giving you advisements. Huh? He should be giving you advisements in there. And the thing about it is, you get hit a good shot, he can stop that and say, hey, that's enough. Why? You take a good shot like that in the gym, you taking it several times during a round, or you take it several times over a couple of rounds, your focus ain't there, man. You shouldn't be getting hit with that. That's why you got to be in condition. You be in condition to fight, you can fight. If you spending your time training, getting in the condition, you shouldn't be fighting. You should be getting in the condition. It's two different things. Just like what Gigi said about strategy and execution. You know, conditioning and being ready is two different things. So if you got a guy that's training, putting himself ready to fight when he's in the gym, but he's dropping weight and everything, dude, he's having a fight already. He's fighting the bulge. Huh? That's why fighters like Hagler, when they trained, they could train so hard because they were already in shape. Hagler probably walked around at 10 or 12 pounds above fight weight. These guys don't do that now. Most of them be at, they look like they just left the buffet, man. Huh? I'm the baddest in the world. And they carry that belt on their shoulder because they can't put it around the waist because the belly is sticking over the pants. These guys are fat. They out of shape. They spend most of the training camp trying to get down close to fight weight. And I'll tell you another thing. They're taking all these PDs and stuff, cutting corners because they scared to do the work. Scared to go to work, man. Get your butt in the gym. Train. It's what it is. Gigi says, just adding to what you said, with proper amount of preparation in training to succeed in the fight. Absolutely. And he says, great discussion, Stormy. Looking forward to the eye of the storm. And Derek Bailey says, facts, Stormy. Thanks, brothers. But no, this is just, I'm telling you, it is so obvious that we're seeing a lack of proper preparation in the gyms, but they are doing all they can outside of the gym to prep fighters up, push them out there, and try to make them stars without them learning, without being feet on solid ground. And it's so frustrating because some of these men are really talented, talking about the fighters. Some of them are really talented, and the talent goes by the wayside because they are jaded and they've been cheated out of what they could really learn. I remember the really good trainers would turn away guys who had poor work ethics and guys who weren't really focused. They might have all the talent in the world, but an Eddie Futch will say, hey, I don't have time for you because you weren't dedicated. You weren't trying to be in there. You weren't trying to learn. You just wanted to fight and make a few bucks, you know? But when he's coaching you and he's training you, he's giving you some things that not only can you apply in the gym, in a fight situation, in a real life match, but for your life, man. You understand? Because it goes hand in hand. It's about developing the mental and marrying it with the physical so that you can go out there and be complete. Too many trainers today are not able to give the fighters much more. Okay? Now I'm going to use a trainer as an example. Abel Sanchez. Okay? Don't like the guy, especially since he made his remarks that I won't revisit. But he took a favorite fighter of mine and turned him into something that's very tragic. And that was Terry Norris. Terry Norris had all the ability in the world to be a great fighter, huh? But when he became single-minded and thought he was an assassin, a lot of times he found himself on the end of being assassinated. And a lot of that took place in the gym. He lost a lot of his fight in the gym, taking shots, getting beaten up, getting his body damaged. It got to a point where sometimes, Terry Norris in a fight, he'd get dropped with a jab. This is a guy who fought good fighters, man. And it's a shame because when you have someone who has that type of talent, there should be someone who can take those talents to another level. Terry Norris was not just a physical offensive fighter. He was a boxer puncher. He could move very well in the ring. He had very fast hands. Okay, a little bit more of defensive responsibility and everything if taught. My goodness, what he could have been. Mildred Taylor, same thing. And ironically, those two men fought each other. There's nothing wrong with catching a punch on your glove, stopping a punch with your arm, slipping a punch, getting out of the way of evading a punch. You don't have to take it flush on the jaw and prove you're a macho man. That is crazy. I want to see fighters get back to the basics and say, hey, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. These guys now, they just looking for the next Instagram model, huh? They tweeting and everything, walking around with their pants hanging off their butt and everything, thinking that the world owe them a living and fighting wars in the gym. In the gym. It don't make sense, man. It don't make sense. What do you guys think? I mean, this is a discussion, but I'm trying to figure out, you know, if you guys can feel what I'm talking about, because it's not something to be easily overlooked. How important it is to have a step up fight. And not just one, but you step up to a new level, a new consciousness, a new physicality, see where your endurance is, see where your skill level is maxing out. It's important. Sometimes, fellas, a coach can have the keys, okay? But in order for that fighter to drive that car out or off the lot, he's got to prove something to the coach. You know, when you hold a fighter back a little bit and then you give him that kind of gumption to say, man, I can do this. I can take that dude. Man, I want him. No, Charles, I don't think you're ready for him right now. We're going to work on a few things first. Man, you already know Charles is ready for the dude, right? But you holding him back on purpose because you want him to explode on that opportunity. Not just go into it saying, I'm here, y'all. You know, it's my coming out party. Oh, you want him to go out there with purpose. You want him to go out there and nail that SOB to the wall and say, hey, I got this. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you how. That's when you know the coach has prepared the fighter properly. And sometimes when the coach has prepared the fighter properly, he can go into a match and look better because he was prepared properly than he actually is. It looks easier. It's like, wow, that was great, man. You accomplished this. It's like we thought this guy was going to do XYZ and you came out and just took him to task. That just meant that preparation met opportunity and opportunity made you prepared. It's like you were ready. That makes a difference. And see, next time when you go back to the drawing board, especially if you had a great performance, let's get you right back in there within 6 weeks or so. Keep you honed, keep you hungry, keep that fire lit in the oven. And if you had a tougher fight that took you the distance, maybe you went 10 rounds or something, then you take you a couple of months off and come back in another couple of months. But dude, you blow a guy out in 2 rounds that didn't belong in there with you anyway. That ain't no damn step up fight. But then you take 8 months off. If I'm training the guy that's fighting you after you took the 8 months off, I'm training that guy to kill your ass. Cause you ain't got fighting spirit in you. 8 months off and you just knocked the guy out in 2 rounds. That meant getting back to the party was more important than you. Huh? So my fighter gonna be hungry. My fighter gonna look at you like you a piece of fried chicken that just came out the grease, huh? Put some hot sauce on you, huh? I'm gonna eat you up with a biscuit because you ain't hungry, huh? You the guy you thought, oh well, I fought this guy, I knocked him out in 2-3 rounds. I'm the man. I'm waiting on my title shot, huh? The past 4 or 5 guys, you knocked them out inside 5 or 6 rounds, and you ain't learned nothing, not a damn thing. Gigi says, I agree with you, bro. A structured direction with purpose is essential for the development of a fighter. Listen here, Gigi, not only for the development of a fighter, but I'm trying to stress the importance and significance of having a fighter being complete so that if he's at the top of the sport, he can remain. And if he becomes champion, he can reign. You understand? That is the difference. You could win a title, but somebody could come and win it from you. But when you have defenses, huh? 9, 10, 12 defenses, you're a champion, a real champion, turning back challenges because they're not going to let you fight 9, 10, 12 bums with that title, huh? You're going to have to fight somebody who you may have faced in a step-up fight before you became the champ, but because you was knocking out all them stiffs, and now you're the champ, and you're 6 title defenses in, and the sanctioning body's been protecting you with a couple of #1 contender mandatories. Now you got to face that guy who you should have faced in your 22nd pro fight, huh? And now this the guy that could take your belt from you, huh? And if he win, he ain't gonna give you immediate rematch necessarily because it took him a longer time to get there where you are and whatnot. And now you got to get back in the back of the line. These are the kind of things that happen in the sport, man. And it's no lie. It's like when you see these things happening, fighters always want to blame something else. Okay? It was always something external. Never, I should have trained harder. I should have fought a left hand so I could get used to that southpaw style. Not just spar one in the gym, but I should have fought a couple of left-handers on my resume. Huh? I should have fought a guy who moves a lot like that so I could learn how to cut the damn ring off on him. Huh? Damn, that guy was a pressure fighter. I couldn't get the hell out of the way from him. I need to learn how to fight pressure fighters. Or damn, I hit that guy with everything I had. That sucker wouldn't go down. Step up fights. This is what you gotta have. This is how you're gonna progress in the sport. You know, I don't mind when a fighter loses a match in a hotly contested fight where he gave as good as he got. He might have even got dropped, but he pushed on, he fought back, he was trying, and he just got, the other guy just got that decision over him. Man, that is a wealth of experience right there to take back to the gym. Do you know what you could come out with after that type of experience? You could come back stronger, smarter, more focused. It's better than just having knocked out a bunch of guys who look like they came out of the damn bar. Huh? They didn't have a chance if you didn't even train after 6 months off. I don't know, guys. I don't think y'all listening to me though. I don't really think you're listening to me because y'all like guys like Keith Thurman and stuff like that. You know, people, that kind of half-ass it, try to pretend to be fighters and everything. They ain't no fighters, man. You know, fighting every 9 or 10 months. What the hell is that, man? This is boxing, man. This ain't no damn Miss America contest, huh? They had a Miss America contest once a year, huh? I think, huh? This ain't no beauty contest. It's boxing. Get your ass out there and fight. Be active, man. Fight 3, 4 times a year. Fight. Shit. You know, all that talking, man. Get your ass in there and fight. Because guess what? If you've been in there fighting, knocking people on their ass and everything, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tune in to your next one. Huh? I'm tuning in because I'm like, shit, this dude, he handling his business. Huh? He handling his business, man. This dude is active, man. I remember young Mike Tyson used to fight like every other month or something, man. That dude fought like 20 times in 15 months or something like that. He had a real busy schedule. But I knew why they was doing that with him. And I'm not saying everybody should fight that often. Only thing I'm trying to say is when guys get in there and they get that rhythm going, they get sharp. And I'm gonna tell you something. A sharp fighter with his timing down and everything, dude, that's a beautiful sight, man. That's like looking at a hot rod. One of them hot rods from the 60s, man, with the hood up and the engine running and it's just humming like and it is ready to roll, ready to hit the highway. That's a well-tuned engine. That's how good fighters who are very active are, man. They could just snap and get it done. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, man. That is what it's all about. And when you have fighters who are active like that, they have almost no problems with their opposition because you could face all different kinds of opposition when you're active like that. Keep the matches coming. Keep them coming. You know what I mean? So, that's what I'm saying. Now, let's see in the chat. We got Derek Bailey. He says, "We hear you, Stormy." Okay. Reggie Owen says, "I'm listening." And Gigi says, "For me personally, the will to win, desire to test oneself, and overall fighter's mentality lacking nowadays." Yes, man, 100%. And the thing about that too is this: if you're active, you'll have a fighter's mentality. Remember, you can't have a fighter's mentality. You taking 6 to 8 to 9 months off, man, and you blew a guy out in 2 or 3 rounds. You can't. Where's the mental acumen for fighting? Your mental acumen is for more outside of the ring when you're that inactive than inside the ring. And why should the next opponent who's facing you fear you? Huh? You've been partying, you've been drinking. You cannot tell me that you've been off for 9, 8 months and you weren't doing those things. Smoking, huh? Smoking weed, smoking dope, huh? Doing coke, all of that stuff. You've been off, huh? Running around here making babies everywhere, huh? You've been doing all of that, But you want to fight my fighter? My fighter gonna kill you. Huh? You gonna be sitting in the hospital in that bed in that little machine. Beep, beep, beep. When my fighter get through with you, because he know you've been taking the easy life. Huh? And he want all of that you got, snatch it off of you. Like a train robbery. You understand? Snatch it, put it on him, and go out there and beat another one next month, just like you. Huh? That's what my fighter
Keith Thurman knocks out Sugar Ray Leonard in 3 rounds.
That's it, man. That is it. So Derek Bailey saying salute Reggie Owens. BBG says salute Stormy. What's up, BBG? What's good with you? GG says fact Stormy. Roderick Hunter says 100% agree. Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you, bro, it is like this. When you have an active fighter, you almost don't fear the opponent that he faces because his timing is on. You understand? His mental focus is there. It's sharp. It's on point. Huh? He's in shape. Huh? He just had a fight 5 weeks ago. He's ready to go. Your guy, he been in the gym trying to get down the weight. Huh? He frustrated and mad because he can't see his girl now because he been laying up with several of them. Huh? He mad because he can't have his wild Irish rose, you know, and his little toot up his nose. Huh? He mad. But my fighter gonna kill him. Cause my fighter ready to go. Phone ring, bring, yeah. Can I help? Yeah, man. Can your guy go next week on the 25th? Yeah, we ready. Huh? Step up fights. Step up. Step up to the plate. I'm telling you, Floyd Mayweather got everybody fucked up, man. Because you know what? He was very good, exceptional talent at what he did, but he worked hard in the gym. That man was one of the hardest working fighters in boxing of his era. And a lot of people got it twisted. He made things look easy, but he put in the work for it. Most of these guys today don't work half as hard as Floyd worked. But they want that money though. You got to roll your sleeves up and go to work, bro. It ain't going to just happen like that. Step up fights in boxing. That's what we need. We should demand it. Step up fights. Huh? Get in there and mix it up. Get in there again. Listen, if you had a tough 6 rounder, huh? You got dropped, huh? Get back in there in another 5 or 6 weeks. Get your ass back in there. Drop the other guy next time. Rematch that dude. That's another thing you don't see today. Rematches. Why these guys ain't fighting? Not only are they not fighting, they not fighting more than once. It's like, okay, you got me this time, I got to get that back. They don't even want to get it back. You know what they do? I'm going to move up to the next weight class. You bitch nigga, you going to move up to a weight class because you don't want to discipline yourself to make this weight. And you're afraid that guy that beat your ass the first time might beat you again, embarrass you because you cut corners, huh? The VADA testing didn't let you take your PEDs, huh? You failed your cocaine test or whatever when you was training. Put your ass in the ring and train and fight, man, and get in there and get your shit back. That's what you gotta do. It's boxing. running around here bullshitting. Just in there and fight. These guys out here now, you see them. Press conferences and everything, shades on, sitting up there like they badasses and everything, man. You look at the guy. When they announce the fight, look at his belly and look at his belt buckle. Huh? Yeah, but I don't look like this at the weigh-in, though. But yeah, you killed yourself to make that weigh-in, though, didn't you? Killed yourself. Huh? And my fighter gonna kill you. Huh? That's right. That is absolutely right. I'm telling you, man, boxing is so watered down now. It ain't hard to become a star in it because there ain't a lot of people putting in the hard work. It ain't. It ain't a lot of people putting in the hard work, man. It just isn't. But I'm gonna tell you something. Good trainers ain't gonna let you slide by, bro. They ain't. Good trainers are gonna hold you to a certain standard. They're gonna put you in that place where you need to be prepared psychologically. Huh? That's what they do. The good trainers. I think you guys are a little tired of me now, huh? You guys are tired of me in my rants. I'm gonna tell you something, man. You see that guy on my avatar there, that guy hitting that speed bag, that's Miguel Cotto, man. That's a young brother that really, really put the work in. He may not have always got the victories, but I'm gonna tell you something. In this modern time and era, Miguel Cotto was a hell of a champion, and I respect the hell out of him. Huh? Respect the hell out of him. And I wish that thing that happened with Margarito never happened because I do believe that that damaged him tremendously and had an adverse effect on his career. And I wish it never happened. And I wish that you know that guy would not have been able to ever box again after it was discovered what he had done. But this fighter, this is one of the reasons why I put him up as this avatar for this evening's show, is because the diligence that he showed in his career and how he approached his fights and his opponents. A lot can be taken from a fighter like that. Miguel Cotto won almost all of his step up fights, you know, and there's a lot to be said for a fighter who competes at the level like that. you know, Miguel Cotto. And see, you don't hear his name like you hear certain other names. But I'm talking about him right now. Because guess what? I respect the man. He was a hell of a champion. You understand? A hell of a champion. If you don't know about Miguel Cotto, go back and look at some of his fights. I'm sure they're out there. They're out there. Yep. So Derek Bailey says, nope. Gigi says, talk that talk, Stormy. Roderick Hunter says, I've always said the one thing about Floyd to admire was his work ethic. Yes, sir. Instead, a lot of young fighters were looking out at his out of the ring activities instead, shaking my head. You know it. Broderick, it's amazing because that's almost like you're trying to tell somebody how they can make good, but they rather listen to somebody talk about how they cheated. It's the way of the world, man. It's crazy. You know, it is crazy. Roderick says, no way, Stormy B. And Gigi says, money first, greatness second in today's sport, unfortunately. They want to do as little as possible for the biggest prize. And you know something else, Gigi? The prize ain't even that damn big. It's like this. You could gain more by being more than you could just by being content with, you know, a piece. That's why you have to get after people that are sellouts and stuff like that and Uncle Toms. You got to cut their throat because I'm going to tell you, they content with just a crumb and they'll sell you out for a nickel. You understand? They weren't even offered $1. They were offered 5 cents to do you a number. Huh? And then, hey, thanks, a bossa. Huh? Kill that nigga right there. Kill him. Because I'm telling you, a weakness like that can become a virus, man. Pollute the whole thing. It's ridiculous. Selling out for a coin when you could have had the entire bank. All it required was that you roll your sleeves up and go to work. Put that work in. You understand? Put that work in. Yeah, buddy. So you brothers is out here. Y'all know what it is. We talking about stepping up in boxing. And stepping up in boxing means just taking the opportunity before you to advance your career and your stature in the sport. Embrace it. Embrace that opportunity to go to a new level. Huh? Don't just stay stagnant like stale water in the gutter. Huh? You have to be able to understand how that works for you. And remember this, because I know a lot of us have said and talk about being afraid of testing themselves and things like that. But remember, when a fighter's in shape and he's sharp and he's been active, he's not afraid of anything because he knows what he's bringing. He knows that he's been out there, he knows that he's been given it and he can get it and receive it or whatever, but he can face it with confidence. Guys who are not active, guys who are fighting once every 8, 9 months. Some people refer to that as twice a year now, but no, that's once a year, basically. You understand? But guys who are fighting like that, do easy peasy. Take their titles from them. Take their status from them. Take that money from them. They don't even have it in them to push forward. They looking for an excuse to retire. Looking for an excuse. They looking for the back door. Because they know I haven't given it my best. They're not even sure if they have a best anymore. That's the worst part about that. They're not even certain if they have a best anymore because it becomes at a certain point that they're not challenging themselves. That's when they start looking for the easy fights. I don't want to fight him, but I want to go fight Joe Schmo, from Ecuador. You know, nobody's ever heard of him. Man, you better get out of here with that foolishness, dude. Ain't nobody trying to see that. Ain't nobody trying to see that. It says we got 7 people watching, man. That's a low number for me tonight, but that's okay. You know, I know Stormybman been off the scene for a minute because of my technical difficulties, and my regular audience hasn't been, didn't know I would be on tonight, but I'm back. You understand? I'm back. So y'all come on back. You understand? I'm out here. And I'm gonna have some people on here with me next time too. Huh? We're gonna talk some good boxing. Derek Bailey says, facts, GG. And GG has said, money first, greatness second in today's sport. Unfortunately, they want to do as little as possible for the biggest prize. Yeah, I read that. And they are limiting themselves. Fighting the best and creating a legacy go hand in hand, and so will the money. Broderick Hunter says, confidence is everything in sports, and you gain that confidence by putting in the work. Excuse me, I agree. Derek Bailey says, fight is on Showtime. All right. So listen, fellas, I am glad that you all stopped by with me tonight and we got a chance to talk about stepping up in boxing. You know, again, if you notice, I didn't drop a lot of names because this covers the sport of boxing. So it's not about individuals or pointing someone out, singling them out. It's about singling the sport out and demanding that these guys step up to show their wares and see, so we can see where they really are, improve themselves to be champions or champions. Huh? It's a small margin between the two because the lines are so blurred today. 100%. So I want to say, shout out to the LDBC, Lions Den boxing community, new media, black media, liberated perspective, a third eye view of the world. And please look out for my new show, In the Eye of the Storm, with Stormybman. We have an email for the show, In the Eye of the Storm 4 at gmail.com. And that email is for anyone who wants to hear particular content, subjects discussed, matters that, come to light that the listening audience want to hear us talk about on the show. Please submit it. Just an email. Hey, Stormy, can you guys talk about this? Hey, Stormy, what do you guys think about that? Or this fight? Or why that happened? Or why this didn't happen? Whatever. Whatever your questions may be, you know, ask them. Ask away. Just send an email. Drop an email to in the eye of the storm 4 at gmail.com. And we will answer your questions on the show or talk about what you've submitted on the show. Because this is for you, the listening audience. And we will cover the sport and bring it to you raw, the way you like it. So bear that in mind, please. And know that I'm back. I'm ready to do more shows. I'm ready to have more guests. And we're going to talk about this thing called boxing and bring it to you the way you like it. Okay? So with that being said, this has been the Friday night chop session with Stormybman, episode number 17. I'm a few weeks behind because of the behind the scenes troubles with my software and my internet and all that, but thank God we're pushing through and we're going to keep pushing, you know. And with that being said, I want to say thank you all who joined me this evening. This is Stormy B Man, and I'm signing off for tonight. Until we see each other again, peace.